Hello, one and all. We're back with another day of Bridges action. Each team's strategy is starting to become more clear as we wrap up the fourth day of play. But first, let's take a look at the wonderful builds that have been added since the last update. I showed it off too soon as the Evergreens have done a lot to refine and decorate their tree hut from what I showed on day 2, with this lovely walkway coming up from a water column, coming up into this cozy little tree hut. All little details they've added have just tied this build together so much. I love it. It's very cozy, and I'm happy to see if they have any more to build, or if this is all, it's still looking really great. Coming over to the magenta team. As predicted, they finished off their mushroom with this amazing cap. I love this crimson to terracotta combination, then going right into the colors of their towers. Just kind of ties this theme build into the theme of bridges really well. And also just all the details on the shape of the mushroom and the underside on these things. It's tough to get all the details right to looking this nice, and it's a really lovely mushroom. I love it. But coming now into the gameplay. You have the blue team, Woe Nessie. They have continued on with what they had already started with grabbing a couple more towers here towards on the edge of the center. Not super huge fan of grabbing a no ladder 5 tall, but it probably facilitates a lot of their moves going forward into the next area they want to get into, as well as backwards towards these 2 ladder towers they've already bridged to. So I think they've got a lot to work with here, a lot of great points they can gobble up, and I think they're doing really well solidly so far. Moving on over to the magenta team, they're playing in the gray zone here and have grabbed a couple of towers. Also not too happy about seeing no ladder tower taken here, but they do have a lot of great point value in the area they can be grabbing with these 2 ladder towers here, and back over on this edge. So they have lots to do. So I think playing the gray zone is making a lot of sense for them, where they just have lots to do, but they can also go into the white zone here. We'll see kind of where they want to push and play with the edges of their zone. No one's really encroaching on them, so they got lots of options. Red has continued with their all-in plan, where they have grabbed this area in the zone in the middle, grabbed the center, really close to the center tower, but a little bit past their central zone to kind of anchor this. I assume that's kind of them saying, "Hey, this is as far as we want to go, and we're going to fill back in the rest of this area here." Um, I cannot stress enough how big of a bite this is. This is a lot. This is like 70 moves if they want to fully fill in these towers they've started bridging to, which is insane. Like that's like most of the rest of the game they're going to be just filling in what they've already gotten here, which does put them at a spot where if anyone wants to come in and take a couple of these towers off them, it's going to be tough for them to properly defend all of this zone. But if they do it right and they're able to keep everyone else at bay, they could get a lot of points here in the center. So exciting stuff going on over there. Orange team has elected to come over and defend their border here with yellow, as yellow kind of pushed in pretty close to them, so they want to make sure that yellow doesn't go any further. They grab these 2 towers on the edge and have started to grab this one right here. It's kind of an interesting play because if they stay towards the center and say, hey, you know what, whatever, yellow can come in close, then they run the risk of losing stuff. But now that they push right up to the border here, it kind of like forces them to have to fully claim these towers. Otherwise, now that they're this close, if yellow wants to come in and start grabbing floors in their zone, it's pretty easy because they're this close. But vice versa, if yellow then doesn't shore up this side, orange could really easily take this tower and these 2 ones on the edge and put yellow in an awkward spot where they built these bridges and now no longer get the value that they were expecting to get off of those. And so it turns into this kind of arms race on the border where each side has to build up and build up until they make sure they're fully safe. Otherwise, they're always a little bit scared of the other person coming attacking, unless the teams can maybe talk it out and come to a peace treaty or something. Otherwise, yellow hasn't done too much more on this end, but has pushed more towards the middle as kind of I expected, where they grab some of these ladders here. They're in a great spot where they can kind of go any number of directions, but probably are going to be pushing in towards the center here while making sure, of course, that they don't lose anything here to orange on the side. Uh, Green, on the other hand, I saw them had built the bridges out towards the center, and it kind of looked like they might be trying to do something with that, but so far have elected not to really do anything more with those, and have just been filling in floors over back in their area. Uh, I feel like filling these in this early isn't necessarily like a huge deal because no one's contesting them on these. They don't really have to be putting these points here. I think it'd be better off kind of grabbing territory on the edge of where they want to get instead of filling in the back line. But these aren't wasted moves. These are obviously all going to be useful moves for them. We'll just see what else they want to do with the rest of their points going forward once they filled in this section back here. Lots of ladders over here, lots of ladders near the center, this row as we talked about, so we'll kind of see what they want to do. All in all, nothing too crazy with like as far as fighting, but it's really interesting seeing how all the team strategies are starting to come together, the different perspectives on how they want to win. I don't talk too much about points necessarily because points don't matter until much later in the game, so we'll be talking about that later as it becomes relevant. See you next time.